It is Thursday. It is the 22nd of March 2018. Hopefully you're having a great Thursday, or maybe start of Friday, whenever you're seeing MC News. And welcome to the Rich the Man channel. Yes, the home of the finest Uncle Ben's related rice jokes in the world. And also Marvel Contest of Champions news, which is what we're going to talk about today. So let's dive into those stories. And our first story is all about the Boss Rush Challenge. If you're not familiar with this, then, you know, you've been living under a rock. The Boss Rush Challenge has been entered into the game. It's a community-based choice one. So people in the community, the YouTubers, which I've kind of highlighted here, have been chosen to kind of come up with characters that they'd like to have as opponents for the community. At the same time, what buffs are going to be applicable to those. And there's been some like hits and miss. Like a lot of people have found it's kind of like it's pretty good getting up to the final boss, and then Iceman being the most trickiest thing. The big emphasis, I think, that the creation of this was all about was the aspect of challenge. And the free-to-play players, the kind of players that are just kind of starting out, or maybe the players that are striving to complete this, or kind of like thinking, hey, have I got the right champions for this, with regards to hit pool, are finding difficulty with Iceman. Or maybe they're finding that it's taking a lot of resources to complete that Iceman. Dave summed this up in the post. He just said that obviously what he created was meant to be a challenge. And also he had a conversation with someone and said that, yeah, okay, there are aspects in the game where you have to pay units, or kind of you have to use your units, you have to use your resources in order to get further. And again, like I said in my video when I did a tips and tricks, go into arena. If you don't like the aspect of kind of spending your units, you're gonna have to spend your units. Go into arena, grind a load of arena out, and that will give you the units in order to kind of like keep on propelling you through. It could be worse. The champion could like have some kind of regen on them, which is going to be really like difficult. But I do understand both sides of the spectrum. The people that want a challenge will get that challenge. The people that are free to play may find this a lot more difficult and will have to use resources. That's the sad aspect. And obviously the next thing to mention is the 4-star crystal. A lot of people are kind of like saying they're getting, well, just cack really, like bad champions out of this 4-star crystal. And it is the champions that are in the bosses that you're facing off against. However, I found this in a forum post which kind of stated that when someone kind of questioned Yi on the champion choice for the crystals, obviously based on the bosses that you face against are in that crystal, he said that he was not aware that they were going to apply that as a reward crystal to it. So he even said that like he wouldn't have chosen Ant-Man if that was the case, that champion would then enter into crystal and be an option that people could pull him. So yeah, I guess we didn't know that. And with all this, the first thing is that there's been a poll, and this one is kind of referencing the kind of situation, like people are saying, hey, that's a cheap shot, Dorky, and like a lot of, I mean, odd things, like take it with a pinch of salt with regards to a poll like this. It's obviously it's an opinion poll based on what we've had for this Boss Rush Challenge, but you know, you have to make light of this situation and have a laugh about it. I know I did, and turned it into a bit of a meme type video, and obviously that's the reason I talked about Uncle Ben's rice to start off with MC News. So if you haven't seen this video, it's like a kind of a curb your rich the man, like curb your enthusiasm type joke, in that you know, I didn't get asked, and it's just the joke. I didn't really take it too seriously. At the same time, yeah, you got to have a laugh about the situation if you're a bit butthurt by Boss Rush. Our next story up is the major changes that are coming to mini bosses, as well as the symbioids being taken out and sentinels coming in to Alliance Quest. This is pretty darn major because we haven't had a big kind of change for Alliance Quest, and it does seem to add to that point where that change should happen. So keeping it fresh and keep it an original is there, especially when it comes to having some new bosses, because let's face it, they've been the same for a long ass time. Maps 2 to 5 see the most extensive changes when it comes to mini bosses, whereas map 6 doesn't really get a huge change, with Hyperion changing over to Void. So, you know, Void's like a bit of a nuisance, but at the same time, like, I guess a lot of people may have to adjust in order to kind of go up against him. The major changes see Sentineloids, or Sentinels, whatever you want to call them, they could be just left as Sentinels, go as your kind of replacement for the symbioids. Yeah, I don't know if I'm overly happy about it, but at the same time, it gives something new that you can just like practice your evades against. And especially when it comes to like L1 and the L2, in particular the L2 for me seems to be a bit more kind of easier to evade than it does the L1. But then you could like balance off your power control champions, balance off the class relationship, because class relationship is going to be incredibly important, especially going up against these. So I'll be excited to have them going in, at the same time like how I change my kind of playing style as a player to kind of make sure that I'm not taking quite so much damage, but also I'm exacting a lot of pain to the enemy. One thing that is a little bit annoying is the fact that obviously being robots, they are poison immune as well as bleed immune. So champions that are going to be able to smash through with decent detrimental effects are not going to be there, but I'm sure we'll all adapt to the situation. As well, to let you know that the 2nd of April is the point that these go live, and we'll find out how strong they are and how much of a nuisance they are, or maybe how much they're a breeze, will happen then. Well, shock horror, rifts are returning to the game. Fun enough, I think I talked about this in Marvel Contest of Champions news fairly recently. If anybody kind of clocked onto that, they'll probably go, hey, Rich mentioned something about criticizing MODOK Labs and then saying about rifts, and hey, we've got rifts. That's weird, but at the same time, I'll run with it. This is fantastic. One of my favorite kind of events in Marvel Contest of Champions has been rifts. I absolutely love them, especially because the chance of getting something decent is there. And maybe this will be the point in time that I'll actually get a 5-star skill awakening gem. Well, the hope is there. Probably won't get it, but you gotta hope. If you're not familiar with Chaos Rifts or kind of rifts in general, the way they work is you get a certain amount of shards. This is usually grinded out through things like solo event quests, monthly event quests. And to give you an idea, there is a typo in this one, which the developers say, you know, they do rectify and say that even though it goes live earlier, it kind of benefits from solo event quest grinding and not when the monthly goes in. So when the monthly event goes live, which will not be the 26th of March, it will be a little bit later on than that one, you'll be able to kind of grind out for the monthly, and that will give you a certain amount of shards. Shards are what you use to then purchase your kind of advancement on into, so you can go into the dimensional rift. So 10,000 of a certain shard will get you into a dimensional rift. In particular, you know, the best ones are always the master one, but do try and, you know, test your meta when it comes to like doing them. The way they used to work is that you can go in for 10,000, you then get 5,000 for winning that particular rift, and then you do the sequence and you get 5,000, you move on, and it's like you end up accumulating is the word, accumulating shards. So if you accumulate master shards, you can then go into the master rift. And the same thing with like doing a normal will give you heroic, and heroic will give you 5,000 of the master. There's this kind of like chain of events, like a domino effect, but you're able to kind of gather resources through the month. There may be something with regards to an offer in the future, we don't know, that's a time thing. But as well, you can also spend your shards on crystals. But do be warned, crystals will obviously be drop rates and luck. I think it's more fun to be in a dimensional rift than it would be to spin out a crystal, but obviously this is your own preference. If you're concerned about the level of difficulty that you'll be going up against, especially when it comes to master, the increased kind of aspect is all about power gains. That enemies will power gain a lot higher. I think I found last time that using champions that power control, your likes of, you know, your Dormammus, your Magics, your Psylocks, and the list is endless with regards to power control champions. Those are usually the best for it. Don't take too many though. Obviously you need a good amount of certain ones in order to kind of make sure you're bleeding, you're poisoning, you're doing so many other things. But power control is really important because obviously they're going to gain power quicker than ever. Also, if you do quit the event, and also if you don't complete within an hour, that's it, you've lost your shards, game over. So it's always important to kind of make sure that you either have a full energy refill or one spare, just in case you're kind of going in with you know, less than the correct amount of energy you need to complete the rift. And now the most important thing to mention, and that is all about the rewards. Now you can spin the crystals out, but I don't think they're as good. But when it comes to like grinding out, and like Kabam have like done this time, but I can't remember if they did this last time. They've given us the chances of actually landing. It's like a portal essentially. So you'll port onto a kind of a section, and it could land on any of the following. There is such a small % chance that you'll either land on a tier 2 alpha, and at the same time when it comes to a 5-star awakening gem, which is like, it is razor thin in order to kind of land on it. But hey, there's, you know, you've got to give it a chance in order to try and get it. And I'm really hopeful to get that 5-star awakening gem. I think we all are. The announcement of this event, and obviously the update saying that it's for next month, it's not for this month, has been met with a lot of positivity. I think people are really up for this, and I'm really stoked for next month. Cannot wait for this going live and grinding out so many of these shards to then try and get myself hopefully that 5-star awakening gem. But all the other stuff is still good, you know, good materials to kind of resource your champions and kind of further propel you in the game. And our final story is this kind of like funny kind of meme that I saw, and it was it's all about Sentry. And I think not like there's a physical meme, but people are memeing Sentry. So it's like, what is his power in game? And people have said power of 1,000,000 pillows and power of 1,000,000 Spider-Gwen SP1s. I just thought this was quite funny. And that concludes Marvel Contest of Champions news for Thursday, the 22nd of March 2018. I've just come back from the gym, so I'm going to get this out as soon as possible to you guys and then go to bed because I'm tired. Thanks so much for watching. I've been RichTheMan. Like, subscribe, and as always, I shall catch you on the flip side. Bye-bye for now.